Hello everyone, my name is Justine Ramos. I'm an English and Human Biology and Society major at UCLA, and I'm just so, thank you. I'm just so thankful to be here with all of you. I think that communities of color and families of color should be and need to be heard. Our narratives are extremely important in today's society, especially our educational journey. And I know that we are here today because of our children, right, and students who are here at this beautiful school, by the way. It's really beautiful. So here's a poem that I performed at a UCLA alumni reception, highlighting the narratives of people of color, and specifically my narrative as a person of color in the United States in my educational journey. My mother once told me, as all mothers do, they can take everything away from you, but they cannot take away your education. And I stood there with salty tears and salty snot racing down my face as my mother tried to wash off the glue and sand that the kindergarten bullies poured on the top of my head, fully knowing that I wouldn't be able to tattle on them because, well, I didn't know how to. And no, I don't mean that I was too nice to throw them under the bus, because believe me, I would have. I mean, I didn't know how to because my lips still kissed the sandy shores of Philippine beaches, and my tongue was still super glued to my native language, and I just didn't know how to. That day, I asked my mother to be homeschooled. But again, she looked at me dead in the eye and she said, they can take everything away from you, but they cannot take away your education. That was the first phrase in the English language that I learned. And I spit it out at bullies with pride. When they snipped my bangs with safety scissors, I looked at them in the eye and I said, you can take everything away from me, but you cannot take away my education. In 5th grade, my teacher told my parents to send me back to the Philippines because I was too behind. So I started reading books meant for kids in the 8th grade, and when I told my teacher that I did that, I went up to her desk and I said, you can take everything away from me, but you cannot take away my education. In 11th grade, my counselor told me that my character wasn't something the UC schools were looking for. So when I was accepted into all UC schools, I knocked at her office and I said, you can take everything away from me, but you cannot take away my education. This phrase has evaporated the grains of sand on my lips into fresh new waves of English words, and it has melted the glue on my tongue into the smooth poems of Maya Angelou, telling me that I am a phenomenal woman, and how I can sing of freedom, and how I can still rise despite my circumstances because of the gift of education. But you see, we do often hear the stories about the song of freedom and the birds still being able to rise amidst the glue and the sand, but nobody talks about the 690,000 birds who cannot confidently say, you can take everything away from me, but you cannot take away my education. They are called dreamers. But nobody should ever only have to dream about getting an education. Education is a fundamental human right. And these bullies, they may splatter your wings with tar and glass. They may snip your feathers, tell you to go back to where you belong, tell you that you are not fit to their standards, and they will want you to whimper in the corner with salt and snot racing down your face. But no matter what shore your lips touch, no matter what continent your tongue is from, we will rise. We will sing of freedom. We will continue to be phenomenal, and together with no fear, we will say, you can take everything away from us, but you cannot take away our education. Thank you.